something very special again today. Ferrari Testarossa or the 512 TR. Before we get into we are going to drive this car today. Before we do that, we'll go through the detail. But before we even do any of that, just want to touch on, I just want to give a special thanks to the owner of this car, because even though it was booked in this week for his detail, he let me get in a bit earlier because we had a charity event on Saturday, and it's always nice to have these sorts of cars on display, and I was really appreciated that he made it available for the event, in which we raised over $11,000 for the Cancer Council. And you know, it was really, being that the weather was bad and this was inside, it was a bit of a draw card to be inside the workshop and let everyone see something pretty special and pretty cool. So yeah, I just want to make a special mention to the owner and to, you know, the foundations. They donate not only the vehicles, but they donate a lot of money to the charity and to their own charities every year too. So before we get in, I just want to make a special thank you to them. Don't know who they are, so yeah, thank you. Now, first things first, this car's in here for a detail. And yes, we'll be going on our first drive later, so stay tuned. But essentially, the detail is the priority. And when I say detail, it is a pretty comprehensive detail in terms of covering the vehicle. Not so much in the scale of maybe being dirty or the paint being pretty bad, because this vehicle has been well maintained in its life and possibly polished before. And then everyone that has done has seen a video on Ferrari details or has detailed one themselves knows that the paint is quite soft and can be very thin. So we treaded very, very lightly. There are some deep scratches in there still, and even though we went over in one pass, I did give them another go just to sort of bring them down a bit, but nothing really aggressive. We sort of kept to the same level of cut and polish, more so polish than any cutting across the whole vehicle, and just tried to go, obviously around the whole vehicle itself to make sure we covered all the areas. But essentially, first things first, we did the wash process, which this car doesn't see the elements quite often, so there is no sort of clay barring or harsh chemical decontamination. It literally sits in a warehouse on display, so, and mostly undercover as well in that time. So just a really basic wash procedure. But before that, we lifted it up, pulled the wheels off because we wanted to get in behind that area as well. And while we had the wheels off, we ventured into sort of some of the suspension components. In some cases, we vacuumed out the any rubble, like road rubble, that's been sitting on there, so it doesn't sort of blow out over to the within the engine bay or over the guards or anything like that. So we got the majority of that out first, and then we obviously did the wheel well cleaning. And again, no harsh chemicals, just a very pH neutral snow foam, and a light rub just to make sure we can just get that surface area nice and clean. Also, having a lift, obviously this is not something specific to this vehicle, but I like to, instead of having the lift go up and down, like do the top, do the bottom and that sort of thing, once we've completed our washing, the lower half or the underneath the wheel wells, we did lower the car down with the wheels off, so we can obviously wash the rest of the vehicle. We washed, we dried, and we blew out all the crevices while it was at that point. And then we obviously lifted it back up to sort of, wheel off height, and did the final blowouts and stuff in there. Like I said, I don't like going like up and down, so while we were at that height, we obviously finished off washing the wheels. The wheels at some point may have been restored. I'm not sure, but they're in excellent shape. Just, you know, your generic, general brake dust needed to be cleaned off. And again, no harsh chemicals used there, just maybe a light brush. Not even, I think we just used like a nice microfiber cloth on the wheel wells, and the outside were almost, you know, we've been keeping these wheels clean for some time, so they were already in good condition. Also, while the wheel was off, we cleaned all the brake calipers and, you know, suspension, you know, sort of components around that area. So again, while we're still at that mid height, I like to get everything done at that height, so then when we drop it to the ground, then we're done, you know what I mean? So pretty much anything that's got to get done at that, you know, sort of eye level or that height where we're not bending over, we get it done there. And as we try to keep that consistent over most of the details, because even though we're finishing off, you know, and then doing the sort of the top last, the cars never get dirty on the sides after. They always get dirty, like as in dust dropping on them. So yeah, that's why I'm confident of cleaning and finishing the cars at that height. So we'll polish everything we can at this height, you know, at that wheels off height. If we need to go under, you know, sort of like the undercarriage or rear diffuser area, we'll polish and wax in there as well. We'll polish all in between the rake or the grills on the side doors. And then we'll effectively finish off the tyres and wheels as well. So we'll, before pulling the wheels back on, we'll just give them, I think in this case, we just used a ceramic detail spray just to keep them, one, nice and shiny, and two, you know, it minimises the brake dust sitting on there. Again, like I said, guys, this car doesn't get driven a lot, so there's no need for, you know, exotic coatings or anything like that. We'll probably do this sort of detail, you know, this detail will last, you know, probably another 5 years, you know, depending how often it gets driven. So, yeah, so like I said, we'll go on to we'll finish off the wheels, put them back on, even treat the tyres while they're up in the air, you know, having it on the ground and having to, you know, miss a spot on the tyres. I just think it's more, for me anyway, it's the way I do it, I just think it's more efficient instead of going up, down, or pulling it down and then, you know, oh, we haven't done the tyre shine, or you do that last. And with the lift, I've started to detail a lot differently, and because I'm a one-man band, I think if I can minimise the time spent, time can be spent anywhere else on the vehicle. So again, once we've done, we'll lower the car down. Probably the worst part of the car was the left rear quarter, I think, just the top of it. Which again, you know, if you got any sort of flat areas or, you know, scallops, that's generally where the wear and tear is seen, as you can see here. And that was probably the worst in terms of trying to fix some deep scratches. But, you know, overall, it wasn't that bad. So now that's on the ground, we finished the whole polishing process on all the bits that we couldn't reach while it was obviously on the lift at the wheel height, and polish the rest of the car at that height, and obviously, you know, finish off the waxing as well. And once it was back on the ground, we jumped into the interior. Now I'll just touch on engine bay wise. Water obviously gets in there via the washing process, and the water obviously gets into the engine bay via the washing process. So I just want to add that on our final rinse we use filtered water, because there's obviously a lot of crevices on this vehicle that you know, foam and water can get trapped into. So we try to flush out as much as we can, and that's the same for the engine bay. And then obviously we gave it a really good blowout in that engine bay, And the engine bay doesn't lend itself to any treatments. It's quite, you know, I think for Ferrari, it's very basic. It's only very basic in its finishes too. So there's nothing like that we could treat that would make it look any better. You know, stopping short of CRC in the whole engine bay, which is just ridiculous. Yeah, there's no... I've tried to look for areas where we could improve that, but other than painting things and glossing things up, it's very basic in terms of its, you know, layout and its finishes. So not much time was spent in that engine bay area. So once on the ground, again, interior, I mean, this car has done 27,667 kilometers. So this interior is already immaculate. Wouldn't have seen much sun. So the basics got done, obviously, which was the vacuuming. But a very light clean, a leather clean, just from, you know, people sitting in the seats, obviously, and the high traffic areas, armrests. And then we use a nice leather treatment. Not so much a treatment as in terms of protection, but more a moisturizer for the leather, just to help it not dry out over time. Again, on that treatment side of things, we also treated the rubbers and the door seals with a bit of a treatment as well. Again, same reason, just to keep all those sort of rubbers and that not drying out over time. Alright guys, that's enough of the detailing side. I hope I haven't bored you too much with that side of things, but I still think it's important that we show why the vehicle was here. And now we'll just get into the driving. Now, this is the first time I've ever inquired about driving the actual vehicle for our videos, and the owner was more than happy for me to take it, you know, a few spins around the block. So check it out. That accelerator is fucking close to the brake. Alright guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video thus far. Just want to let you know before we get moving, this is definitely not going to be no Top Gear review. We just thought we'd take the car for a drive. We've had permission from the owner to, you know, throw a couple of laps around the block. Just give you our perspective. I've got my cousin here helping me out. Yeah, just how the car feels and drives, you know. Instead of just going through the specs and all that sort of stuff. So far so good.
It's a bit smoother than I thought.
Yeah. So one thing I noticed when we did this, and you would have noticed when we did the wheels off detail, is the tyres look almost original. So, and they look very hard, which you can imagine. So, you know, we're expecting it not to ride the best. So this car's 90, this is a 95. So obviously you had the Testarossa, then you had the TR, and then you had the 512M. Just going to see if we can find a longer road. So we're just putting around here. From memory, I think it's 315 kilowatt. Oh, there's the wipers. And 0 to 100 in 4.8 seconds. Third gear. Yeah, it's very nice. What?
This is
Going back into here there.
just like the poster I think a lot of us had on our wall back in the day.
Yeah.
Exactly the same car.
That's why this car, for me and probably for yourself, is very, in the scheme of iconic cars from our youth, it's got to be top three. You know, you probably put the F40 up there, Lamborghini Countach. I mean, we grew up, you know, our car, I guess, was the 90s, you know, our car scene.
Yeah, 100%. I love the new Ferraris, but I think if I had the choice, if I had the money, full stop, it's not like I've got the choice, but this one would definitely be top of the list.
And obviously, growing up in that sort of era, video games, you know, this car was the poster boy for like Outrun. It was on Need for Speed, I think the front cover of Need for Speed. So yeah, it's a very iconic car for the era, and yeah, just in general.
It also reminds me a bit of Miami Vice.
Yes, that's probably an older generation, but
It is.
our
but
parents.
I could see myself wearing loafers in this car and a white suit.
The gated shifter definitely takes a bit of getting used to. Someone hasn't driven one before. I hope that noise is coming through because it sounds mint. I think it sounds way better than I expected.
Yeah, it's far better, far smoother. Like the car's 30 years old, and I was expecting it to be a lot bumpier.
Yeah.
But that's beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
This car just ticks a lot of boxes for me today. This is a very special moment, I've got to admit.
For me too, mate. Appreciate the owner letting us take this out for a lap. Fulfilling a bit of a dream as well, I suppose.
I don't think if we drove a newer Ferrari, we'd feel the same.
Absolutely not. Just can't beat the nostalgia. Brings back good memories.
But I like the fact that it's a bit rough, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's a proper driving car. A little bit before all the technology came in and almost ruined some of the cars that we see around today. But this is a proper driver's car, this one. So you're getting used to that shifter. Unbelievable. How old are we again?
We won't say that. Well, they know. 90s. We enjoyed cars in the 90s. That's when we got our license. And that's why I've got this infatuation with 90s cars at the moment. Hence why, you know, the Fairmont. But, yeah. clean it again, yeah.
Do you know someone?
So there you have it, guys. Our first drive and detail video, and what a car to be able to do it in. The Ferrari Testarossa or the 512 TR. Yeah, just pulled at the heartstrings, this detail and this drive. It's been, I was literally speechless, as you can probably tell, while driving this sort of car, iconic car. Yeah, it was a real honour. It's a real privilege to get to work on them, and now to be able to drive one. Yeah, I'm just lost for words. So hope you enjoyed it as much as I did making it and detailing it and driving it. And yeah, guys, we'll see you in the next one. But just, I might throw in a bit of commentary after the drive that we just had. Thanks, guys. Check.
What do you reckon?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, fine. Thought it was going to be a bit like, be how you going, you know what I mean? Like,
A bit rougher? Or?
yeah. Especially with the tyres and stuff. But
Are they the ridgy tyres? Are they
I
the...
think so, man. Like, they look like there's not much tread on them, and they look like period correct. It's only done 27,000.
I was
That's
expecting
kilometres, so that's...
Oh, honestly, I was expecting it to be more like a go-kart, like bumpier, more ruthless, but
No.
I could drive this to the city.
Yeah, mate, this is easier to drive than XY.
Yes.
You know, like, once you get used to that shifter and realise that first is here,
Yeah.
because you're in your brain you're always thinking first is up high, up left.
Mm.
So you're going to second and thinking, you know, that's sort of first. So once you get your head around that, nah, man, far out.
Shit.
I didn't even look at the speedo. So
No,
I don't know.
I didn't record it either. Far out, so good. I can't believe it. We just went for a lap in one.